I think the age of the youth ends at 35, is it? If I'm not mistaken, it's up to 35. I'm 70, so you can see that is double that age. I'm very much privileged by God that I've lived so far and I'm still talking and walking. So, I have a granddaughter who is 2 years old. About a month ago, she came home with her mother and she was sitting next to me. She picked up this phone. 2 years old. And she kept on pressing the buttons. I was just watching her. She went into the settings, she went into that and that, until she went into YouTube. And from the YouTube, she went to the children's page, and she got children's music from there. 2-year-old. I'm still struggling to use this gadget for receiving messages and sending messages. So you can see the gap between the 2-year-old and the 70-year-old Kenyans who are here. So I'm imagining if the 2-year-old is there, what is the gap between you people who are so much emancipated and understanding this thing and the person of my age? So that shows the great opportunity and the potential that you do have, which we never had. When it comes to learning, and I'm sure a professor will bear me out on this one, we used to read books and books and books and volumes of books to be able even to come up with one composition. These days you press a button, you have got all your information at your fingertips. So in terms of capacity building, without going to school, you can capacity build yourself to a level that we our generation, can never imagine. Having said that, if this is the case, if these are the opportunities that youth have in this country, what is the status of the youth in this country? Shouldn't they be way, way far as youth from where we were by the time we were youth? Unfortunately, the situation is reversed. When we finished our college, we did not have to look for jobs. We were given jobs by the government on completion. And what is that? Let me tell you, it was from 4 level, not the high school level. You get a job, you finish, you are taken by the government, then you are given further training, then you are promoted, then you are, all those facilities were there. Today you struggle. You struggle to go to school. And a lot of our people, the Kenyans, don't have the resources to take their children to school. They take them up to Form 4. Some of them sell their land and their livestock. They take them to the university. They finish the university and they come out and there are no jobs. So, is it the reality that this is caused by the environment which you are in? Or is it the environment that was caused by man or the leadership of the country that has placed you in that position? If you look at where we started from, 1963, the 3 enemies of Kenya, as was said by the political class, was ignorance, poverty, and disease. I don't want to talk so much about disease, because I'm not an expert in medical. But if you look at poverty, today there are more poor people in this country than there were there, even in terms of percentages. If you look at ignorance, we are more educated now than ever before. But what has that education helped people of this country? And more so, what has helped the youth of the country? So I do believe personally that it is not opportunities that did not exist, but opportunities that has been denied. And who denied those opportunities? It is the leadership of this country. You can't run away from this fact. Why is it that the top people who are more than 50 years old, are millionaires? And why is it that all the ones under 35, or the biggest percentage of them, are the poor ones of this country? They talk about creating employment. It's a very sad state of affair. With due respect with my sister, advisor to the minister, honestly, when I drive around and I see our youth with djembes and spades cleaning up the trenches, is that why they went to university? Is that what they are supposed to be employed in? Really, it's a very sad state of affair. Okay. Is that the employment creation we talk about? What are they going to do after being paid 400 or 600 shillings a day? And then that money finishes, then they'll be told, no, the budget is over, you have to wait until next year for another 400, for another 600 shillings a day. I came from Isiolo the day before yesterday. I witnessed people who worked 2 months ago as youth. They were not paid. They were queuing up for the 400 and 600 shillings. What state of frustration are you placing this youth in? My dear sisters, my dear daughters and sons, it's a very sad state of affairs. I think we talk about policies. The policies need to be reviewed by new policies. The so-called policies which are being placed in place are not for the interest of the youth. It's for the purpose of political mileage. Or a lot of times these policies come up just before the elections, and they just end up immediately after the elections. Having talked about all these things, is it the political class that is to be blamed alone? No. It is you to be blamed, you. When I say you, I'm talking about the youth. You are the fodder. You are the ones who are being utilized. If you talk about tribalism in this country, who are dying? It is the youth. If there is land clashes, it is the youth who are dying. If there are political rallies, you will see Group A, the youth, Group B, the youth, and you are the ones who are clobbering one another. You have to go back to yourself and ask yourself, why are we doing this thing as youth? When the power comes in, there will be very few privileged like my sister Jane. We get it. Because they have to place them there, not because they like Jane. But the face of Jane has to be seen there. The youth is here. She might have the capacity and everything else. But they will be there. But where are the majority of the youth? They are nowhere. So please go back yourself internally and ask yourself, what have I done to enhance myself as a youth? What I have done to improve the opportunities for the youth of this country? At this point, I just want to go back and look at one more thing. My background is I'm a pastoralist, and I think you know about pastoralism. We move around from one village to another village looking for grass and water. That is the life that my father led, and I started my life from there. As the culture of the youth society is to nurture human being to be able to adapt to the environment of nomadism. What do? When a child is born, the child gets to 7 years old. That child is given a small stick, very small one. And then the child will be told, go and look after the kids of the goats. So he'll be herding the kids of the goats. There'll be probably 5 or 10. He'll push them out of the boma, stay with them a little bit and come back. As the child grows up, gets to the age of 10, he'll be given a slightly bigger stick. The bigger stick is going to use for looking after the calves, because they are bigger than the kids. So he'll be herding out the calves outside, and in the evening he'll be herding them back. By the time he gets to 14, he'll be looking after the cows and the camels. By the time this child gets to 17, he's an adult. When he becomes an adult, it's not a question of only him herding the animals, he will be part of the decision-making body of that village. At the age of 17. Unfortunately, our culture today, which is adopted from the Western society, based on the needs of the Western society, we have to go through an education system. I'm not saying the education system is wrong, but we go through an education system by the time we are 24 years old. So after 24, we are coming up into a new life. Now we are told now you have to fend for yourself. Not to become a leader, you have to fend for yourself. You don't make decisions. Decisions are made for you. You are not consulted for decisions. Those decisions are made for you. But you have to do A, B, C, D. By the time you come to 35 years, so at no part when you are in youth that you're accepted as a leader. What is the famous or infamous phrase that is being used? You are the future leaders of tomorrow. Isn't it? The future leaders of tomorrow. You tell me the current governance structures of this country. Where do you have the leaders of 35 who are in top positions? In elected positions particularly. Absolutely nil. Okay? And you are 35 and so you don't have a life there at all. So what I want to say is that there's a lot of opportunities that are there. Opportunities exist every day. But those opportunities must be enhanced to benefit the youth. My speaker who was here earlier, talked about the corona issues and the opportunities that is created. Everybody around the world is wearing masks, isn't it? The opportunities of making masks was created as a result of a challenge of the corona. At any one given opportunity, at any one given time, there are opportunities for you people to benefit at your own local level. But those opportunities, like was again eloquently put by the speaker who just spoke right now before me, those opportunities must be made to start operating. You cannot do it on yourself. You buy the right policies. My daughters, my sons, what I want to tell you You have to wake up from the slumber you are in. You are Kenya. I am not Kenya. I am in transit. But you are Kenya. The future of Kenya is in your hand. And the other thing is you don't wait for leadership to be given to you. The leadership has to be taken by you. You have to organize yourself. The political class in this country have moved away from being a civilized society in one that lives by the rule of the jungle. They will do everything possible to sustain themselves in the position of power and use the fodder, which is you, to keep them in the power, steal your wealth, and clobber you. I struggled. The professor might remember me. I was very much involved in the constitution-making process of this country. I was much more younger than now. I had great opportunity and hope in this country. The constitution that was made by the people of Kenya has been watered down. It doesn't exist anymore. And it will be watered down more and more. And you will be the people who are going to suffer. We are creating a dictatorship in this country. And we are waiting for the country going down the slope. And we are sitting here and watching. We'll be clapping. There's a handshake. There's BBI coming. The BBI, my brothers and sisters, is not for you. The BBI is for those big boys to come and sustain themselves in positions of power. I am not in support of any political person or any political class, but I'm in support of the future of this country. I have children and I have grandchildren. And it's the right time for us to wake up now. I can't do anything, but you people can do something. If you get organized, these animals in the jungle will shake. These animals in the jungle will listen to you. These policies must be changed. The fact that people are dying of corona and somebody stealing and selling those things which are supposed to be fighting corona tells you a lot. The fact that billions are being pumped into projects, the projects never take place, but the money is never seen, tells you a lot. This is your money. You are suffering in poverty. Your brothers who are not in this room today, who do not even have the opportunity to come here, are suffering outside there. Some of them may not be able even to pay their bus fare to come here. Billions are being spent. I get emotional about these things. I don't want to continue. My daughters, my sons, it is your opportunity. It's a high time you stand up. Forget about these barriers of tribe. Forget about the barriers of religion. Forget about the barriers of regions. It is your future combined. Looking at you sitting here, this is Kenya. It's a representation of the whole country. This is what should be speaking. You should be speaking for the future of this country. You should be speaking for the ones in Nairobi and the ones in Mandera, the ones in Homa Bay and the one in Turkana. You should be speaking with that voice. It's a high time you start thinking along those lines. Let this be the beginning of a process for you. Each one of you is a representative of your home area. Look what you can do. Don't underrate yourself. You don't need to, you don't need to go to the streets. You just need to organize and speak, and you have the voice. The voice is there in the social media. The voice is a word of mouth. Get together, demand for this country to be put back on the right path. Thank you very much for listening.